Good morning, everybody. Let's see. Yeah, I got it all straight here. All right. So, like I said, good morning, everybody. Today is May 19th, 2020. Can't see. Uh, Leave It to Beaver, Andy Griffith, I Love Lucy, Superman, Dennis the Menace, I Dream of Jeannie. Later on, Sanford and Son, All in the Family, Happy Days, and Saturday Night Live were all shows that I watched growing up. Abbott and Costello movies, Black Belt Theater, Elvira, and the Three Stooges were still on. And some of the cartoons back then would be considered racist now. And yet it seems most of the shows back then were very wholesome and rarely dealt with serious issues. I mean, even speaking of pregnancy was a big deal. Life was different back then, at least on the surface. Maybe it's just me getting old, but those times were a hell of a lot different than they are now. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because yesterday Ken Osmond passed away. And you might be asking, who is Ken Osmond? He's not one of the Osmonds. He played Eddie Haskell in Leave It to Beaver. And if you're around my age, or maybe a little younger or older, you'll remember the show, Leave It to Beaver. But anyway, Eddie Haskell was Wally's mischievous, two-faced friend who would kiss up to Beaver's mother, Wally and Beaver's mother. But as a young lad, I used to hang out with this guy who lived across the street, and we would go swimming all the time. There was a lake behind the house. We'd go swimming, and then once we finished up, we'd get tired, and we'd come in, and his mother would throw us all a towel. Usually there was a couple of us, but it's always me and him for sure. But she'd throw us a towel. We'd get dried off. We'd come inside, and she'd always make us peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And for some reason, Eddie Haskell struck a chord with me because I felt like Eddie Haskell whenever I talked to her. She knew what kind of a kid I was. I was a little hellion, even at like 12 years old. But she was always very polite to me, and I liked her, and I liked her peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because she always kept I remember this to this day. She kept the white bread. It was like Wonder Bread. And she would keep it in the freezer. And then once we went out swimming, she would see, oh, we're going out swimming, so she would start making the sandwiches. So she would take the bread out, and the bread would start thawing out. By the time we came in, we'd have some slightly frozen white bread with peanut butter and strawberry or cherry jelly. And those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were memorable, but so was my kissing up to her. I'm not going to say her name, but she's passed away now. But I remember always coming in, hello, Mrs. So-and-so, how are you today? I was always overly polite. But my friend's father was the disciplinarian in the family. At least it seemed like it, and I was kind of scared of him, and I didn't dare brown nose him. But I liked him too. They were good people, and even then they were old. They were older parents. My friend had a brother who was out of college, so he was a good 10, 12, maybe even 15 years older than my friend. But in the garage there was a really cool car. It was a Model T from the 20s, and we used to sit inside in the garage with our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and just shoot the shit. And supposedly his father was going to restore the car, but it always sat in the garage for as long as I know. It was always really dirty and dusty. But we get inside there and brush a little of the dust off and eat our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and talk. And back then I've been thinking about this a lot because for some reason this guy Eddie Haskell's death kind of struck a chord with me. Not to be overly nostalgic, but traveling back then by plane was very easy Greyhound was very easy. What was it? Amtrak. There weren't cameras in every store. People used to say hello and shake hands, and it wasn't a big deal. It was normal. That was the normal. Uh, and even though not many people believed what, even then, though, people didn't really believe everything politicians said. And I think now, like I've said in the past, we are ants living in an ant colony. And right now, that colony has grown to become more complex than ever. But anyway, the days of my semi innocent youth were about as similar to Leave It to Beaver as they ever would be. Those days are long gone. Those were the good old days. And the world is turning into a place now that I don't much like. At least I don't like it as much as I once did. I didn't have to worry about all these things now. And you know, right now we're all paying for China's, it's either sloppiness or their desire to rule the world, desire to wreak havoc. I don't know what it is, but let's face it, even trying to be positive, this isn't a pleasant experience. It sucks, and there's no better way to put it. I mean, you know, it's just, we just have to deal with it. That doesn't mean that it's pleasant. It's not fun, you know. But anyway, in today's stream, we are going to talk about a few things such as divisive America. Yes, My Three Sons, I forgot about that one. You know, I could have went through a list of 100 different shows, but those were the ones I remember off the top of my head. But My Three Sons was a very good one, very wholesome, you know. 1984, censorship, surveillance, and danger. Danger. Is it all relative? Listen, I have to say I saw a message on Facebook yesterday. I almost responded to it because it pissed me off. Basically, someone called Wisconsin a dangerous place because of the coronavirus. He whipped out some incorrect data, and so I thought, that doesn't sound right. I checked up on it, and that's how I found out it was incorrect. And I started looking into it, and it's not that dangerous there. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to read some of the comments that were made. Now the Thai government is saying that a CCP virus app is going to track all business customers. At the moment, all it is a QR code. It's not an app on your phone. You just go in with your camera, and then it opens up something, and I don't know how they're tracking it, but you know, I'm sure I could figure it out, but I haven't had a chance to do that. So that's what's going on. That's what we're going to talk about. As of 7:02 a.m., the Thai bot was 32.0292. The temperature was 84 degrees, which is rather cool here. The high temperature for the day will be 97. The low is 84. Wow, the feel-like temperature, what happened? I forgot about that. The feel-like temperature is what? The feel-like temperature right now is 102. The temperature is up to 88 degrees. Zero. What is this here? Let's see here. I got my facts wrong. 75% humidity, 20% chance of rain, winds east, southeast, 3 miles an hour. Visibility, 6 miles. The UV index is 0. And the air quality index, is 23, which is quite good. Let's see here. Now, this week's supposed to be a little bit cooler. Let me tell you, man, I mean, I know I complain about it all the time. When I'm out and once I get sweaty, I just, you know, listen, it's hot. Southeast Asia's hot. It's humid. And that's just the way it goes. This week is going to be a little cooler, though, with highs through the next week of only 93 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about almost 34 Celsius. So that's what's going on. That's what's going to go on. That's what's going on. Anyway, before I go on, The following stream and all the videos on this channel are brought to you by the premium members of anamericaninbangkok.com and my Patreon patrons and all your purchases of merch and books and contributions through Super Chat, PayPal, Cash App, however, Bitcoin, whatever, however you want to do it. It's all made possible by you guys, which I appreciate very much. Did it say the 19th? It is the 19th here in Thailand. It's the 19th in Thailand, Mr. Soy Dog Cowboy. I have to go only for my day, my time, Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, today's shout out goes out to Mr. Bilal and Mr. George. Thank you once again. I hope you're all staying safe. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Thank you all for, sticking with me. A lot of you have stuck with me for many years. Appreciate that. If you'd like to support the channel, head over to AmericanInBangkok.com, /Scott, or take a look in the description. The details are in the description. Got that backwards. And if you're in North America, I believe it's only North America, you should be able to see some merch right below the video window. Anyway, now, I said it the other day, right here, right now, 2020, and for probably the past decade or two, society has become more and more Orwellian in nature. All eyes are upon us. Big Brother is watching. Big Daddy's telling us what we can and cannot do, and I, for one, don't like it. I don't think a lot of people particularly like it. It's a trade-off, obviously, between safety and privacy. But again, there is a tipping point. When is there too much surveillance, too much safety, and not enough privacy? And I first kind of got into this. I first got into this whole issue with my bank when they first started coming out with the two-step authentication. And also when I used to have a bank called NetBank. I don't believe they're in business anymore. They were they were bought out by, I don't remember at this point, but they've been bought out. They were bought out, and then the other bank is bought out. Now my bank has been bought out again, SunTrust. But back in the day, when I would take a withdrawal out from the ATM, and it'd be like, for your safety, we have locked your ATM card. And of course, back then they weren't open 24 hours a day. It was only, business hours. And I would call up and I'd go, what's the deal? I can't even get through. So now I can't take any money out. My night is finished because maybe I didn't have enough cash because I only had cash in the U.S. account, didn't have any in my Thai account or whatever. And I started to realize that it was becoming a pain in the neck. And then I remember SunTrust telling me, this had to be about 15, 20 years ago, something like that. They told me, we're very sorry, sir, but for some reason your authentication doesn't match up. You're not in the United States. And I said, well, I don't live in the United States. You've had that in your system for years now. I told you about this. For whatever reason, you don't update your system. And now you're locking my account because I haven't done something with the authentication. And they said, yes, sir, but we do it for your own safety. I'm like, I don't have enough money in my bank account to worry about safety. It's not like I got, 50 grand, 100 grand just sitting there in my bank account waiting for somebody to hack into it. Really. I make, the most I probably have in my checking account at any one time is about $2,500. That's it. Why keep your money in your check account? So anyway, that was the thing. In the beginning, it was like, okay, so you're trying to make me safe. I don't want you to make me safe. All I want really is to make sure that the country, the military of my country, the United States, make sure that I'm safe. They don't allow some Chinese or Russian military to walk in and take us over and take over my house rape and pillage. That's really what I wanted. I don't need all this other stuff. I didn't need it. Now, some people may need it, but I didn't need it. So I started to see that. And now leaders around the world are starting to use the CCP virus to flex their political muscle. And whether for better or worse seems to make little difference. It seems like a lot of these people don't really care. They're just power hungry. And no, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, but it seems to me that the illusion is gone that the government wants the best for the people. Now there's always an agenda. It's always about, I'm in charge. Hey, shut up. You don't need to talk about this. I mean, look at the police. You can see all these videos online of the police. Some guy's going, listen, I'm sitting on my doorstep at my house. What do you want? Do you have a warrant? I don't need one. I can do what I want. I mean, where is this all coming from? So it worries me because I have thought about going back to the United States. What would it be like when I'm ready to retire completely? And I figure, hey, where am I going to pass away? Where do I want to die? And where is the best place for us to be? Sometimes I think about the United States. Right now, I'm not thinking about it, but I have thought about it, and it is worrying to see what's going on in the United States and in other various countries because censorship and surveillance has been increasing, and freedoms are being taken away. And if governments are allowed to continue, the day's going to come when all of a sudden we're gonna look up and the freedom as we once know it is going to have disappeared into the abyss, like some California cliff, some California home on a cliff that drops into the ocean. One minute you see it, oh wow, it's such a wonderful thing. The next thing, boom, it's gone. So and the thing is, before I came to Thailand, I lived in California. I lived in Newport Beach. I lived in San Bernardino. Actually, it wasn't San Bernardino. It was Rancho Cucamonga. I lived in Huntington Beach. And those were good times. California was once known for progressive thinking, progressive and yet semi-intelligent by some accounts. Great surf, beautiful bikini-clad women, a free lifestyle. And this is now a state that just threatened not long ago to leave the United States of America because they don't like what the president's doing, what's going on. Well, then leave. That's what I say. Now, I've been looking into this Gavin Newsom a little bit, and when he took office in 2019, he had a 21. It was historic because they hadn't had this before. A $21 billion surplus. It's one of the wealthiest nations, or wealthiest states, in the nation. And it's been on the verge of economic collapse almost since he became governor. Where'd the money all go? And now, once again, he's on the verge of receiving billions more. I lived in Huntington Beach around 92 to 94, something like that. 91 to 94. And, what I don't really understand is what is so difficult about understanding that you need to make your citizens a priority? Why do so many Americans need to sleep, eat, and shit in the streets instead of even a modest apartment, a decent studio apartment? What is the reason they are doing that? And this is we are supposedly the largest economy, the greatest nation, all these other things you can attach all these adjectives to. And yet you got people that are shitting in the streets and they have no money. Maybe it comes from the way that people budget their money. I don't know. But in this latest stimulus bill, Pelosi and the House believe that they believe enough in illegal immigration that they want to give them free money. And they're illegal. So an illegal immigrant is a person, by definition, who comes to live or work in a country that is not their own when they do not have the legal right to do so. Now, a lot of them have snuck in. Most of them have snuck into the country and then decided to work. So Peter Navarro on ABC's This Week recently said, Nancy Pelosi basically lost me with her package when she said it includes $1,200 checks for illegal immigrants. It just went downhill from there. He continued saying we should keep going with the fiscal and monetary policy that we've been going through because we've got a lot coursing through the system right now. Many Republicans have echoed Navarro's sentiment in recent weeks, preferring a wait-and-see approach for a next round of stimulus legislation, even as 36 million Americans have joined the unemployment rolls in the last 2 months. 2 months. Federal Chair Jerome Powell has said that more stimulus could be costly. No shit. But it is worth it if it helps avoid long-term economic damage. Now, what really gets me is they're saying it's a wait and see. It's you know, the people are on the unemployment lines as if they don't understand why. Well, if you tell people they can't go out from their house and that their work is not essential, then what do you expect them to do? Guess what they do? They bridge up, they get pissed off, and they say, screw you, we're going out, we're working whether you want us to or not. Coffee gone. Because they've got to feed their family, they've got to feed themselves. And the whole issue of whether or not this virus is as dangerous as people think. I think in the beginning, of course, it was very virulent, and a lot of people, until we got it under control a little bit better, and it's still not completely under control, but until some of the scientists began to understand, hey, listen, the elderly are at risk. Well, okay, I understand. You gotta set up some guidelines. You gotta see, okay, what works, what doesn't work. You know, like Trump. You've got to understand these things before you can maybe get back right out there. But what gets me is that what really got me on this Gavin Newsom is that he was just saying we're not going back to normal. Carl, you're funny. I listen to you to expand my view because you're international and a good guy. I'm home and don't know what is going on. Anyway, listen. So Newsom said, he said it just on May 5th, which is how long ago? 2 weeks ago. We're not going back to normal, said Newsom, who gave Tuesday's press briefing from the site of a Sacramento business called Display California. It's a new normal with adaptations and modifications until we get to immunity and a vaccine. Okay, that was 2 weeks ago. He also said that restarting sports is difficult to imagine until the vaccine is available. California won't reopen sporting events to fans until immunity to the Chinese virus has increased and a vaccine is widely available. And then today he came out, or yesterday, depending on where you are, if we hold the rate of transmissions, if we hold the positivity rate down, if we continue to do justice to the hospitalization and ICU numbers, that we'll be making announcements statewide, not just with the regional variances that would allow for retail not just to be picked up, but in-store retails to be loosened up. In addition to that, sporting events, pro sports, in that first week or so of June, without spectators and modifications and very prescriptive conditions, also can begin to move forward, and a number of other sectors of our economy will open up again if we hold these trend lines. You know, I just wish these guys would stop speaking all this gobbledygook. Because that's what it is. Well, if we do this and we do that, we don't do this and we don't listen, people want to get back to work. They want to get back to work. I understand you don't want to fill up an arena. Okay, so, great. But then why 2 weeks ago were you saying we're not going to you can't do anything until we have a vaccine? And this is the kind of stuff that divides America. Okay, now, speaking of dividing America, I saw this statement yesterday on Facebook, and the guy says, think about this. Every hour, 83 Americans die from the coronavirus. Now, let me see something here, because I don't know currently what the deal is, but let me just see real quick, because it'll only take me a second. Okay, so yesterday, yesterday, 1,000 new deaths. 1,003 new deaths. Okay? Now, who knows, but 24 times 83 does not equal 1,003. I'm sure he was just going from some other figure. But then he says, by the way, I just looked at the Wisconsin deaths, because I think he was speaking to somebody who lives in Wisconsin. It's around 3,000. California is also at around 3,000, which I didn't even check, but let me just see real quick. Might be more now. California is 3,321. And let's see here. If I can find it real quick, what happened to it? I have the number, but I double check. Okay. As of when I wrote this information down, Wisconsin's death toll was 453. Now it's 459. But it's not 3,000. California is also around 3,000 deaths. It's 3,300. But the population of California is 40 million. Wisconsin's population is 5.8 million. Wow! Your state is very dangerous. California would need 21,000 deaths to equal the same rate as Wisconsin. And I just thought, you know what? This is typical nonsense. So I looked up the death toll in Wisconsin. It's not 3,000. It's 400. It was 453, as I said. Now it's 459. 6 more people died. The percentage of deaths for the population of Wisconsin, it actually works out to just under 0.008. So my question is, first of all, why does that make it so dangerous? And second of all, doesn't it seem that if Wisconsin or any other place on this planet lets their economy disintegrate because of a 0.008 death rate, it doesn't sound too intelligent to me. Not at this point. Maybe in the beginning when you're still trying to iron things out and figure out what's going on. But now it seems like they've got somewhat of a handle on it. They still don't know everything about this, but they have a better idea. So you could effectively open up and practice safe measures, which frankly are a huge pain as I see it, but maybe they're, a necessary evil or necessary they're necessary. But why keep shut down? What is the need to stay shut down? So, for me, claiming that a state is dangerous when you have a 0.008 death rate is rubbish. Okay? It's nonsense. And this is the kind of thing that I think this is where all this different information, too much information comes into play. If it was in the old days, you would just hear, oh my God, we have a virus, we're going to have to stay safe. And everybody would just go, okay. But now they're getting all their information, me included, from, 50 different places, 100 different places. So anyway, he wrote this information, and the person that he was speaking to wrote back, COVIDiots are at large here. I have loved lots about my state growing up. We had the reputation of being so kind and loving. We exemplified welcoming. I'm embarrassed and horrified now. Ugh. So, of course, this person responded again. They should compare the number of other states. I have moderate thinking on this issue because I believe some states can open up more. Okay, that's good. But Wisconsin is not the worst, but it's still very dangerous. No, it's not very dangerous. I'd like to know, what is the chance of getting into a car? Let's just take a look. All right, because I should have done that last night. Because today I'm rather well prepared, but I wasn't prepared on this. Let's see here. Okay, what is the chance of getting into a car accident? Blah, blah, blah. Just give me the percentage. That's all I want to do. I want to see the percentage. The average, okay, this is no accidents. 50% would never have an accident. Okay. Let's take an extreme case. Assume that half of the drivers never have accidents, while the other half have accidents at double the average, or 0.11. Okay, so the average is 0.55. 0.5, what is it? 56. 0.56 is the average number of people who have an accident. Now, I don't know about the deaths. Maybe I should go back and type that in, but let's see if I can find that out. Obviously, having an accident is the chance is quite high that you'll have an accident. The chance of dying from that is probably far less. But let me see what this says here. Motor vehicle traffic deaths totaled 33,804 for a death rate of 10.7 per 100,000. Okay? 10.7 per 100,000. The death rate in Wisconsin, if I can find it here, is it 79 per million. So 7.9 per 100. So the chance of having a car accident if you drive and dying is higher just by using their data and extrapolating the data. Is greater than this virus in Wisconsin. Now, even if it's not greater, if my information is not completely correct, but it's close. You see what I'm getting at? It's like people are like, oh my God! Listen, I understand it's dangerous and you got to be careful. I do understand that. I do know some of the information. I have been, studying this and looking at this and researching it and reading about it every day in depth. So he writes back to this person. It's still very dangerous, but I have empathy for these people because many of them are panicked about the economy. Also, the United States was founded on libertarian values. This is part of our cultural history. They consider the shutdown as authoritarian. Well, yeah, of course. It's hard for them to just see it as a health issue. Now, that comment I do believe. It is difficult for some people to look at things as a health issue. What I was thinking is that, like, here in Thailand, people don't really have a problem wearing masks. They'll wear their mask, and I believe that has helped a little bit, although thank you very much, Longhorns, for sending me the information. But when you think about it, when you fart, You've got like some jeans on and you got underwear on, assuming you wear underwear. That fart is going through 2 layers of clothing. So what is that mask really doing for you? But I'm not going to, challenge that. People in Thailand and much of Southeast Asia are wearing masks far more than, say, in the West. I don't want to say it's natural because compared to before, I mean, obviously there are far more people wearing masks now. Almost everyone is wearing a mask when they go out, unless they're just in the front of their house or something like that, or sitting with one of their family members outside or something like that. Then they're not wearing a mask. But for the most part, they're wearing masks, and in the past, they would wear masks just because of pollution and that sort of thing. So anyway, again, they're going back tit for tat with these questions and these responses. Questions, answers, responses. How dangerously wrong those idiots can be. Childish, selfish, fools. This has nothing to do with libertarian values, although my father and son epitomized the failure of that philosophy in times like these. I pity them and the damage they and their fellow travelers. Okay, here we go. Fellow travelers, anti-vaxxers, gun nuts, and political bedfellows are doing. Now, this is where I almost responded to this because it really pissed me off. I also feel so bad for our nation. Okay, I feel bad for our nation because of the virus and because of the people suffering. But this person, it is a he, as far as I know. I don't know, am I allowed to say he or she? I think it's a male. I also feel so bad for our nation as we are forced to put up with these dangerous anti-American fools. Most sad is that these jerks fail to understand, intentionally in many cases, the damage they are doing to our Constitution, our history, our heritage, our nation, and our people. The basic tenets of positive philosophical thinking escapes them. In most cases, they apparently have no idea what that even means. Sadly, they are so wrapped up in their own confusion and innate nastiness, they are incapable of seeing they're not agreeing. Failing to accept logic and reality is in fact inflicting their dangerous, often ostrich-like mantra on the U.S. Yes, the self-centered arschlokes. I don't even know what that is, so I'm going to have to look it up. Can I look it up here? Yeah, look it up. All right. I like that. You can look it up right from inside Pages. Well, of course it doesn't tell me, so what good is it? Let's see here. I can't believe this guy's message. Oh, Arschlock. It's asshole. Oh, God. Yeah, well, you can't just use the basic word. You can't use asshole or arsehole. You got to use something else. Arschlocks. Well, I guess that's German. Let's see here. Okay. Arsch, A-R-S-H, is ass or arse. Lok is hole. Let's see if I can hear it, or we can hear it.
Arschloch.
You guys hear that?
Arschloch.
Arschloch. Okay. Synonym is anus, only medical. All right. Here we are again, getting right back to the lowly anus. I don't believe the U.S. did an economy shutdown in 1918. U.S. death toll was about 650,000. National emergency suspended some of your rights. Those who wanted to exercise their right should be denied any health care should they become ill. Well, that's a very difficult, it's a dilemma, man. I mean, seriously, if you think about it. What are you going to do? You got some guy home, he's got 3 or 4 kids, or a couple of kids. They're running low on food. Maybe between him and his wife, they've got 15 grand stashed. It's enough to last them 2-3 months. They've got to stock up on the food, and they start running low. They start tripping out. They're not working. They can't make the house payment. Or, after a month or two, they're not making a house payment. They're not getting any answers from the government. So what are they going to do? I got to go back to work, man. I'm going to go cut hair or whatever it is. You can't really fault them for that, especially when there are some who believe that this lockdown is overkill, and there are some doctors that believe that. So let me just continue. Yes, the self-centered, I'm just going to say assholes, will resist anything which is necessary for the good of our nation. Really? I'm sure there are some that fit that description, but the vast majority do not. I blame parents and failed families. Okay, so this guy is like Mr. Perfect here. I blame a lack of love. I blame education. I blame television as a babysitter. I blame certain religious philosophies. I blame the greedy for allowing their brains to twist in their pursuit of lucre. I think that's sugar. I blame fact-free followers. In some, I especially blame those who see themselves as anything but guilty. Let me see something here. Lucre, money. All right, I thought it was sugar, but I think maybe it's sugar in Spanish or something. I forget. Anyway, whatever. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Yeah, arrest the barber, give the money to the illegals. Yeah, that's the way to handle it. Okay, now, he continues. I blame fact-free followers. In some, I especially blame those who see themselves as anything but guilty, and our nation is scarred for years and years to come. Now, that's probably the most accurate statement he's made. And our nation is scarred for years and years to come. We will prevail, but it will take enlightened leadership and a long, long period of self-reflection. So there. Now, here's the thing. He's blaming everybody, but he's not blaming the fucking CCP. He's not blaming the CCP. He's not blaming the one set of people, the one organization, the one group. The CCP is anathema to me. Look that word up if you don't know what it is. Anathema. I'm disgusted by them. As human beings, I'm disgusted by them. So if he wants to blame anybody, don't blame Trump, don't blame Fauci, don't blame Americans who don't think like you do. Blame the Chinese, the CCP, the Chinese government. Let's just be clear about that. Anathema. Yes, word of the day. So that kind of irritated me, right? But he went on to further illuminate my vociferous views about those who fail to understand reality. Let me elucidate. Jesus Christ. Let me elucidate. Let me speak further on the subject. Okay? Let me continue. But okay, whatever. Let me elucidate. For me, COVID-19 would be a death sentence. With cancer and significant lung issues, as well as age, I would die if exposed. Okay. I understand that. That's a very valid point. He may be at risk. Okay, so guess what? Don't go out. Stay home. I mean, what's so hard to believe about this? What is so hard to understand? If you're old and you're in that position, guess what? Don't go out. You don't need to worry about all these other people. Just don't go out. And if you do have to go out, wear a mask. If you really want to, wear a shield. If you really, really want to, wear gloves. Do whatever you feel is going to make you safer. But worry about your damn self. While most Americans are honorable and responsible, thank you, a vocal minority cares only about themselves. Well, maybe if this guy cared about himself first and stopped worrying about what everybody else is doing, he would be able to better handle the situation. I don't know. And the pandemic brings out nutcases. I do agree with this. Although only to a point here, and I'll get into that in a second. Brings out nutcases with beliefs from 5G towers to conspiracies to vaxxers to gun nuts who don't care about their life, theirs or others. Now, okay. Well, that's no big deal, Gennaro, the beer garden in Pattaya being demolished, nor does it surprise me. 5G towers, okay, I understand this. Conspiracies, okay, listen, sometimes there are elements of truth in conspiracies. Most of the time, I'd say, some people they are nutcases, all right. Vaxxers, I don't get the whole vaccine thing. I've had several vaccinations in my life, when I was young. I guess I turned out the way I did because of all the vaccines. That's why I'm so screwed up? No, I don't think so. Okay? Now, gun nuts, listen, if there's one thing I wished I had here in Thailand is a gun. And it's not because I want to go out and, go carrying my gun around everywhere and showing what a badass I am. No, it's because if somebody wants to get in and try to steal all our food, if it ever gets to that point where people are breaking into houses and robbing people and hurting people to try to get their food and their money, well, then I want to be able to shoot them instead of using a bat with nails in it. Because, it's a little cleaner that way. A bat with nails is ugly. Pompeo sent a tweet about China messing with American journalists in Hong Kong. Yes, I do know that. And what does that tell you? Let me just tell you something. This CCP, I cannot stress it enough. When I was over there, I've never seen anything in my life like the way that they gaslight, the police gaslight, the government gaslights. They're so full of shit. And, I used to say this about a particular boxing leader, a leader of a particular organization, who I'm not going to name. But what he wanted was to present fights to the public that were complete garbage. And I used to say, and I almost got in trouble for it, I came very close. I used to say what this guy does is he serves up a plate of shit, and then he wants you to think it's a bar of gold or it's a gourmet meal or something. So do all politicians beyond Trinity. I hate to tell you, but Trump is not the only one who gaslights. Hope this may explain my virulent opinions about a small but noisy minority, egged on by the disaster. Here we go. Egged on by the disastrous response and attitude from an incompetent, failed leader. It will take longer than a pandemic to resuscitate our nation from this unconscionably uneducated, deadly, and abominable president, administration, followers, and enablers. I trust this clarifies. Thank you very much, Richard. You are the very first of the day. So guess what that means? You got the good luck. Chug D, cop. And so this guy obviously is anti-Trump. I don't mind that. You got the right to not like him. I don't particularly like everything he does or says. But like I say, he was voted in. He won fair and square, and the Democrats don't like that. And I understand they don't like it, but you know what? Like going to the lengths that they've gone through. Schiff, with Michael Flynn, with all this kind of nonsense that they're taking part of. And this bullshit with this stimulus package. It's just one thing after another. And here we are, we're fighting amongst ourselves. We can't even get along as a country. How are we going to get along if we're trying to band together with other countries so that we can take down the CCP? Now, I know some people believe that it's just a matter of time before the CCP falls because they are desperate and in turmoil, but they want to give the illusion that they're in complete control, but they're not. Now, I actually wrote out a few sentences to this guy before I decided not to send it because I thought I don't feel like getting into some Tyson wins for sure. Sorry. Khabib is too small. Tyson is too skilled with his hands. Tyson will smash him. I doubt that Khabib would really have a great shot. I don't know, because Tyson is older. But if Khabib ever took Tyson down, forget about it. But Tyson is a big, strong person. I think if Khabib made one wrong move coming in, trying to take him down, I think Tyson would obliterate him, just like he would obliterate most guys in MMA now who are not huge. I mean, Khabib is not all that big. And, I love Khabib. I think he's fantastic. He's the perfect example of a guy who is made to be a fighter and who knows what it's like to be a fighter. If I had a fighter fighting for me, I'd want him to be like Khabib. It's about training. There is no nonsense going on. There's none of this, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. You are a fighter. You fight. And when you're done, you're done. That's it. You make the clean break. I liked Hagler for that reason, too. So I started to write this guy back. The reality is that this guy is, you, as in this guy, is a small percentage of the population and a small percentage of the population that is vulnerable. Obviously, elderly people are vulnerable. Well, guess what? If it means staying inside for a while, this guy didn't say anything about, where was I at? You see, this is why I can't read and do things. I can't do two things at once. I'm not that talented. Need to work and keep their family. Okay. Obviously, if you're older or you have some medical conditions, you probably need to practice more. You need to practice more. What's the phrase I'm looking for? More of the safety guidelines. You need to adhere to the safety guidelines more than others, because it could very well cost you your life in a matter of days. Within 2 weeks, a lot of people die within a week or two of having symptoms. So, that's what scares me. That's about the only thing that scares me, is saying, wow, I have symptoms. I need to go into the hospital. There's a good chance I'm going to die in a week. I don't believe that's been proven beyond Trinity. Forgetfulness is a side effect of the vaccines you got in your youth. I don't believe that that's true, honestly. Charles Akana, hey, how you doing? Power is the last thing to go. George Foreman versus Michael Moore. Yes. I just saw a fight with Michael Moore, and I know, but I've got to address that. I just saw a fight between him and Holyfield. I saw both fights. And I actually went to the fight with Holyfield and Bo, the first one, not the Fan Man. And Bo was an incredible fighter when he was on top. He was the great in-fighter for a big guy. He was an incredible fighter. But anyway, getting back to the George Foreman thing, I remember watching George Foreman. He is the epitome of somebody who knows what he wants, refuses to take no for an answer, and does whatever is necessary to reach his goal. Oh, you had to watch Rick and Morty. Well, I thought Rick and Morty was going to go off the air. The people were freaking out over it. Jesus, it's like China with Winnie the Pooh. Oh, we're not going to be able to watch any more Winnie the Pooh because our leader doesn't allow it. It's like, Jesus Christ. But when I watched Foreman fight Moore, I saw Foreman fight Adelson Rodriguez in person in Las Vegas. I saw Mike Tyson fight Henry Tillman. They were on the same card. And what struck me about Foreman is that he never stopped believing in himself. He didn't have any doubt in it. He didn't outwardly show any doubt. And so when he went into that fight, I knew he had a chance because Moore was a smaller heavyweight. He was strong, but he was a smaller heavyweight. And so he just got he used to get a little lackadaisical sometimes. And he got lackadaisical at the wrong point, and Foreman hit him with that shot. And I still remember to this day Foreman walking over to the corner. He's a very religious guy, whatever. And he looked up in the sky and was thanking God because, it had come true for him. He didn't really hold the title very long after that, but that's neither here nor there. Winning is half the battle. Holding the title is the other half. Um, as Massachusetts opens up, at-risk people need to take appropriate care for their self-protection. It sucks, but that's a reality now. Well, yeah, that's what I was saying in the beginning, is that now, more than ever, and it sucks, but people are going to have to, it's almost like you got to wear, I feel like people almost have to wear a condom on their body. What's next? You're going to wear a condom? A body condom? You know, you're going to step into it every day and go out? Is that what we're going to do? We have a little tube coming out of our mouth? Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. You know, what is next? Now, how about all those people? Now, this guy says I need a Magnum, extra large Magnum. That's all I care about. Ribbed, unribbed, doesn't matter. Khabib versus Pelosi. I hope Pelosi gets smashed. But anyway, I was saying about how the reality is you know, the elderly and the at-risk people, the percentage of people that die is very small. So obviously they're going to have to take care. They're going to have to be careful. What happens if you jump up and down fast? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. You got ribbed to excite the public. Very good. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you know, like when I went into the mall the other day, it was a pain. It sucked. And you got to walk around with a mask, and you got to wear, you know, there's people, they've got their shield on, and they're looking at you like, this sucks. Let's just get this transaction done because this sucks. Everybody knows it sucks. And all I got to say, turn it back on the Chinese. Thank you to the Chinese government because you suck. Okay? Very simple. Now, this guy who has been, I've been reading his stuff, he hasn't said anything about, and he doesn't look very old. So I don't know if he's on disability or what the deal is. I don't know. But he's not saying anything about finances. And that's what I find funny. It's the people who have plenty of money or who have, they have a pension or something like that. They don't say anything about, oh, well, the people have to get back to work. He doesn't say anything about that. He just says, oh, they're so selfish. Well, it's easy to say when you got food on the table and you know that the money's coming from the government or wherever. That's easy to say. So it's easy for Pelosi or Maxine Waters to say, oh, my God, I can't believe that they really want to go cut hair. Yeah, okay. Maybe they don't want to go out of business because the landlord still wants his money because he wants to eat. You know what I'm saying? How about all the people who are not vulnerable and those who don't have the money? They need to go out and work so they can feed their families and keep their businesses running. And few people, and certainly not President Trump or Vice President Pence, are saying to, hey, everybody run back out and go back to work. Forget about the virus. Act irresponsibly. I don't think many people are saying that. There are some people who just go, I don't need to wear a mask. Okay, I understand that. Those are in a minority. But Trump and Pence and most of the people in charge around the world, they're not saying, everybody just go out, go back to work, don't worry about the virus. That's not what they're saying. And Trump is I hate to say this to people, but Trump is a very small cog in a big machine. He alone is not responsible for everything, and he alone will not fix the situation. The world is far more and far greater than the United States alone. Believe me. Well, I shouldn't say that because anytime somebody else says that to me, I don't want to believe them. But I believe that, okay? There's more to the United States, and this is the thing. A lot of people in the United States live in a bubble. They believe the United States is the greatest country. It's the end all. It's everything. It's perfect. It's wonderful. And, you know, it is in many ways. But that doesn't mean there's not other places. It's like saying, this is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. Very seldom is she really the most beautiful girl you've ever seen in your life because most of the time you can't remember. All you remember is that there's been a lot of beautiful girls and that some, at the moment, seem like they're more beautiful than others. Yes, Trump dropped the bomb telling the mainstream media he had been taking hydrochloroquine and zinc to prevent COVID symptoms. I will say this. At least he practices what he preaches. You know, he's taking it. I mean, I don't know how he got it, why he thinks it's such a good thing. I don't know. The CCP should be kicked out of every organization for letting this virus willingly spread while trying to not let it spread around China. Yes, I agree. And I don't know if anybody saw this, but the World Health Organization has said that they will allow an investigation into their inner workings, which I find to be funny. You're going to allow it? Listen. If you're getting hundreds of millions of dollars from countries and they say they want to take a look at what's going on with how you're running your operation because they have serious doubts about it, you damn sure better let them come in and start investigating. Unless you got a lot to hide, which I think personally they probably do. And now here's the thing, and I'm going to do something about this later, but for the record, here in Thailand, people are not dropping like flies. People are wearing masks. They're wearing max value. They're wearing masks. They are generally practicing social distancing. And the hospitals are far from overflowing. Nobody's crying out about how bad the COVID virus is here. Although they don't like the crackdowns and they don't like the financial ramifications of what's happened and the shutdown, excuse me. There's 56 people dead here, okay? That's a minute portion of the population. So you're going to tell me that for the long term, if I was a citizen of this country, you're going to tell me that because there's 56 people dead from this virus that I can't go out, I can't make a living, I can't do these things? You know, I mean, how much longer do you have to wait? People want to assess blame. But blame it on the CCP. Don't blame it on Trump. You know, Trump's not the only person who allowed people to come into the country and maybe they shouldn't, or he didn't do something he should have done. Look at Italy. Look at Spain. Look at Russia. Look at Sweden. Nobody's crying in Sweden about this. You know, so and if I did have a gun here, believe me, it would only be used to prevent people from looting my home. So now this guy goes on. This is the last little blurb that this guy wrote. But it seems to me he's a bit holier than thou. And he's full of shit. So I hope he's watching. Only I can characterize my own status. My position is based on in-depth reading of everything. Really? From the classics, that's not going to help much other than 1984. To history to daily events. Okay, history might help. Observation and a strong education, majoring in political science. Well, there you go right there. We're going to have to throw your thoughts out just on that basis. With a focus on philosophy, okay. What do philosophers do? What kind of jobs do they get? I'm a philosopher. I know they do more than that, but it's a joke. With a focus on philosophy and critical thinking. Well, you could have fooled me, pal. There is nothing mean about aiming arrows at the fools who endanger any and all near or around them. We are paying a price for the quarantine, difficult business realities, etc. We also understand our responsibility to ourselves and any with whom we may come in contact. I'm the kind of guy the right wing can't stand or understand. Yeah, I don't, listen, this guy's full of shit. It's not that I can't understand him. I'm fully capable of understanding this dipshit. And that's what I look at this and I just go, these are the kind of people that get into power. They come into power and they run governments like the California government, like Gavin Newsom. To me, he's an idiot. How do you let San Francisco, where I used to go, I've been there a couple of times, and it was a beautiful place. All right, I'm not, against gays or anything, but it was a bit freaky for me to be sitting there with my mother and father and my chick. We're sitting there, and we see these guys macking in the back of a pickup truck, making out practically, going at it in the back of a pickup truck. I was like, damn, Please, even if they're a man and woman, I'd be like, you know, put it on a tape and send it to me. I don't want to see it in front of my mother and father. And, it's like, so, I mean, how can you let San Francisco turn into what it's turned into now? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Now, more and more I am hearing for a call for an alternate platform to YouTube. A lot of people are not very happy with the censorship going on with YouTube. I mentioned the other day London Real. I've also mentioned Valuetainment. They are two large. I don't know what you call their kind of their kind of show, but like talk shows, interview type shows. They're amongst the largest on YouTube, and they and people that they have on their show are constantly being censored. And here's the thing. Yes, YouTube is, they run it. It's not a government organization. They can do what they want with it to a certain point. But I think when they start censoring, at some point it becomes, listen, are we China or are we American? What happened to the United States being a bastion of freedom? When does YouTube decide, oh, well, I don't like what you say, so I'm going to take it off? Now, listen, if you're on my channel and, you call me an asshole or you say bad things about me, the chance of me, I may leave your comment, but the chance of me allowing you to further comment is pretty minute, at least for the long term. You might do it once or twice, and I might go, it's no big deal. I don't care. But for the long term, no. Why? I don't have to. I'm not bound by the Bill of Rights. Yes, YouTube is a company and it's their rules. And basically the way that it works is their rules, you want to play, you got to pay. And by pay, I mean you got to do it their way. Okay? But it's getting to the point now where and I don't get it, because why did Trump win? Why are so many anti-left? Not to say that there aren't a lot of people who are against the Republicans. But why are so many people, say, anti-Democrat, we'll call that, pro-Republican? And yet, all the mainstream media, most of the mainstream media, and say Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, they're all leaning to the left. They're not even trying to disguise it. They're not even trying to make believe that they're fair. So why is it that the right ends up winning? Oh, they cheated? No, I don't think so. I think it's because most people, they want to believe some of the stuff that is being put out there on these social networks, but they know that for the most part it's bullshit. Like, listen, if you want, you can give me $2,000 a month, and you can give my family, everybody gets $2,000 a month. We'll get $8,000 a month. Go ahead, give it to us. I'm not going to say no. My mama didn't raise no fool. Free money? I'd rather work for it. I'd rather do what I'm doing right now. But listen, if you're going to give it to me, I'm not going to turn it down. I ain't stupid. You think that's the best thing? You got voted in, and this is what you want. This is what our country wants. Okay, I'll take it. Give it to me. But don't cry to me when you fall on your face, because I don't think it's good for the government. But that's not a way to live. Only way to make a real change is YouTube creators need to exit in droves to another platform. The changes will come due to loss of revenue. Money talks. Yes, I do believe that, and that's the thing. Alternate platforms. Now, as I said the other day, one of the problems is that no matter where you go, there are going to be consequences. There are going to be repercussions. Let me just get rid of this guy here. If you go over to a web host, the web host is going to be held accountable. At some point, a number of people can contact the hosting company and say, hey, why are you letting this guy say these things? We find offense with this. And at some point, they may go, hey, listen, buddy, listen, you're going to have to tone it back or we're going to have to cut you off. Oh, I had a nice curry for breakfast this morning, and I do feel it now. It was quite good, though. But if you go over to, say, BitChute, they got BitChute, they got Vimeo, Daily Motion. These places are the same. I don't know about Vimeo because they they lean to the right. I might like their censorship, left-wing policies, but it's their store. You like them, don't shop there. Yeah, that's the dilemma. It's like, okay, I don't like product A. I hate it. I don't particularly like iPhones. I love the quality. For me, I love the ease of operation. There's a lot of things I love about it. I don't love that a lot of their components are made in China. What's the alternative? Find a U.S. only. Find a phone that is only made with U.S. products in the United States. Yeah, fat chance, okay? Good luck with that. That's why I'm planning to launch my vlogging career on TikTok. When I heard about TikTok, the first thing I thought was, is it Chinese? Yes. Okay, no. Never going to go there. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Cannot. Well, say what you will about India. They do tend to have their act together when it comes to the IT business. Apple is starting to move to India as well. Other businesses. I know they're going to eventually start doing that. And China's already threatened, Australia, the Germans, the Americans, the Brits, threatened them with boycotting their products and not shipping this, not shipping that. They've threatened people who work for the U.S. government. And it's like, listen, go ahead, man. At the end of the day, it's like, you have to have this mentality. And listen, I don't want to die or anything, but if I was in power, I'd be like, listen, you Chinese fucks in the Chinese government. If you really want to throw me out of power, go for it, baby. Kill me. Do what you got to do. You got to stand up to them. At some point, you have to stand up to them. You can't just back down all the time. You got to be smart about it. But at some point, you just go, you know what? We're going to take our losses. We'll be fine. Eventually, we're going to be fine. India ain't China, but I don't know that, we have a somewhat of a relationship with them. Somewhat of a decent relationship with them. Better than with China, for sure. But, if you look at Trump, what he said the last couple of days, he's not very happy with what's going on with China and the Chinese and the government and everything. He knows they're full of shit. He can't just come out and go, I know they're totally full of shit. They're lying through their teeth, the bunch of bastards. They did it all. It's all their fault. Well, I don't particularly like cheap stuff. It's not a matter of me liking cheap stuff. I don't like cheap stuff. I like expensive stuff. If you look at all my liquors, they tend to be good liquors. They're fairly expensive. They're not. I'm not buying what's that stuff? What was that cheap ass Ripple? I don't want to drink Ripple. That said, what it is, it's not so much that you want to buy cheap stuff. I understand that, hey, listen, probably this little table. My wife ordered a couple of tables. Yeah, she did it without my knowing it. It's only like $40 for 2 tables, right? It's a little table. My kid, I wanted to see. Nicholas is very, his mechanical aptitude is very good. He's extremely good at putting things together, tearing it apart, putting them back together. He's very good at this stuff. And I said to him yesterday, I said, listen, you think you can put this thing together on your own? Easy, he says. I said, yeah, let me see. So he puts it together for me. Now, this table, I'm going to, I admit it, it's cheap. $20 for a little table, but it gives me a place to put some other stuff on my right. I don't always have to reach, it's very nice. But anyway, the point is, yeah, it's probably made in China. Now, I didn't have a chance to tell her, don't you dare buy from there because it's Chinese. She says it's Thai. My guess is the products came from China. Yes, Boone's Farm also. I did used to drink Boone's Farm when I was a teenager. So the problem is not necessarily that, though, because I would much rather buy a phone that was made from the United States or even Korea or, Sweden or Japan than buy from China at this point. I don't want to buy anything from China. But what choice do you have sometimes? And much of the time, you don't know what is in the products. So there may be some components that you don't even think about. And guess what? They're made in China. What are you going to do? Not much you can do. You want that product, you want product A. If there's no product B, you either do without product A or you buy it. And that's part of the problem. But I do think that backing out of China slowly, kind of like we're dealing with a snake. I used to tell my kids, if they ever saw a snake, to stay still and to slowly walk backwards and get away. But don't run, don't move quickly. And that's kind of where we're at with the Chinese. We're dealing with snakes. We're dealing with pretty deadly snakes. And if we back out slowly and intelligently, we have a pretty good chance of being all right. But if we rush, I don't know. Things might turn out a little more negatively. So, I have to say, I wanted to talk a little bit about Thailand. The whole mall thing. Now, I saw something also where somebody was saying, yeah, I think I think the ants metaphor and the snake metaphor with China, those are probably the best metaphors I've come up with. But, I saw in the Bangkok Post yesterday, Thailand's Center for the COVID-19, that is the CCP/Chinese virus. Thailand's Center, the Situation Administration, CCSA, on Thursday said that a tracing application named Thai Chana, Thai Victory, has been developed and will be introduced to all business operators that will resume business on May 17th in the second phase of easing of lockdown restrictions. Okay, now, here's the thing. There is no app as of now. Okay? Well, let me read this here. Beyond Trinity. China, a few years back, cut a shipment of key rare earth metal supplies to Toyota. That delayed Prius car production. The reason was Japan was holding Chinese fishermen in jail for ramming a Japanese Coast Guard ship in violation of Japanese waters. Well, my 2 words that I would say to summarize that is fuck them. Fuck them. Tough shit. Go ahead, keep the shipment. Fuck off. You have to take a stand at some point. You cannot let them blackmail you. And that's exactly what they were trying to do. Shipments resumed once the captors were, once caption was released, the captain, I think. This is what China does and can do because it controls so many critical supplies. And this is why we need to get out of that. I'm not boycotting everything Chinese, just need the government to make everything that's important to our security in every aspect to be made in our own country if possible. I agree with that. However, like I said, fuck them. I don't want to buy anything from them if I can get away with it. Now, here's the thing here. Spokesman Dr. Tawisin Wisanuyotin said that businesses can register online for application and will receive a QR code which can be posted in front of their premises for customers to scan while entering and exiting. With the online tracing system, customers can be tracked and text messages will be sent to them in case they need to be tested. If a customer visiting the same venue has tested positive for COVID-19. All business operators, decouple. Gwyneth Paltrow, decouple. No, honey, you didn't decouple. He got bored with your ass and he dumped you. Just like we're bored with the Chinese and their bullshit, and we want a nasty breakup. And they hold a little bit of the card. They hold most of the cards, so we're in a bad position. That's where we're at. That's another metaphor. It's like a bad divorce. Also, the Thai China application is able to inform customers if the shop they plan to visit is crowded or not. Thai China app would serve 70 to 80% of the people who use mobile phone. Blah, 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 blah. Now, customers can also use the app to tell the government if the shops they've visited, follow COVID-19 control measures. He assured that customers' privacy would be protected. Only the disease control department would have access to customers' information. Now, come on. Anytime you're releasing all this kind of information, whether they plan on doing something with it or not, it brings up red flags. Now, when I went into the mall, I did have to use my camera. So in other words, if I'm streaming and I'm going to walk into the mall, I have to stop streaming, go to the camera, and put in and scan their QR code to get in and also to get out. So they can follow you. But the app is not on your phone unless you want to put it on your phone. It's the businesses that are required to do so. But even so, this is what I mean. Eric Blair had a crystal ball. He knew what he was writing about. And if you don't know who Eric Blair is, look him up. All right? Read the book. Now, another thing in the news. Thailand heir to file for bankruptcy rehabilitation after the coronavirus has shuttered Thailand's tourism. Thailand's flag carrier Thai Airways International will file a plan for restructuring its business with the Central Bankruptcy Court, a government spokeswoman said Monday. Now, I've been following this for a while. You know, is the government going to take over? What's going to happen? Are they going to get bailed out? What's the deal? Are they going to get a loan? Blah, blah, blah. The plan was submitted to salvage the airline, and I guess it's submitted on Tuesday for cabinet approval, which would be today. No details were released. Thai Airways has been suffering financially even before the coronavirus crisis brought travel and tourism in the country to a near standstill. This has been going on for a long time. They wanted a 1 billion baht bailout loan from the government. There's speculation that its reorganization under bankruptcy could take the government's ownership below 50%, effectively effecting a form of privatization. A rescue option is likely to lead in cuts in staff, fleet, and flights. Well, I'm very sorry to say this, but Why is it that Thai Airways, the face of Thailand and people coming into Thailand, I mean, it is their nation's airline. Why is it that they are so damn expensive? And yet, they can't seem to balance the books. I don't get it. They charge like triple what a budget airline charges, and yet they can't make ends meet. I don't understand that. I don't really, Carl 3374. I don't really pay attention to China until traveling. When I heard China makes drugs, military stuff that we need, that's not great news. No, I mean, why would you have them manufacture a component of some weapon that you use? Just stupidity and corruption. And, I don't even know what I could go on and on and on. So, end of cheap flights in Southeast Asia due to lack of competition. No, I don't think there's going to be the end of cheap flights. It may not because of the competition. It may be the end of cheap flights simply because you can't fly as many people on the airline. So that means less money per flight. Virgin Airlines Australia was $8 billion in the red before the lockdown. Wow. Just like Alitalia charged more than other airlines and had all kinds of financial problems. Now imagine this. If I said everybody who wants to watch my streams has to pay me $100 every time I stream, and I'm rolling in the dough, I'm PewDiePie rich. Let's just imagine. I can dream, can't I? And I just said, listen, I'm going to go to Chiang Mai once a year and do travel videos you're going to get 1 or 2 travel videos. But you got to keep paying that money. You're going to be going, well, where's all the money going? What's the deal? Oh, you're going to pay me that much if I do it nude? Listen, for the right amount, I might do it, but it's going to have to be. Listen, it's going to have to be quite a bit. $100 a stream times 69 people. Wow, $6,900. Thai Airways logged losses of $374 million in 2019, $361 million in 2018, and $65 million in 2017. Have they ever been in the black? Their debt burden is almost $9.4 billion. The airline stopped its flight at the beginning of April as Thailand imposed strict precautions to curb the spread of the virus. Almost all its staff were put on leave at greatly reduced salaries. I can guarantee you at least some of those people were told, take your vacation time, take your sick time, and then we're going to cut your salary. And that way, The government last week extended to the end of June a ban on arrivals on international passenger flights, ruling out their immediate resumption. Okay, so, there it is there. Again. Now, what I wanted to say is, I found this article about the COVID-19 app on CASHAPP English, okay? CASHAPP English. And guess who wrote it? Guess who released this article? A Chinese news organization, Xinhua. Absolutely disgusting. I don't understand it. But then who am I? It doesn't matter if I understand it or not. Doesn't matter if I agree or not. None of this matters. Longhorns, I figure it'll be triple the price when I go back to Thailand, which isn't that bad for a long trip, but for a vacation, it's going to suck. Yeah. Branson just sold some stock to help relieve some debt from his Virgin airline. Yeah, I did see that because I've been looking at Virgin Galactic, and it's been up and down all over the place, and I'm sure it has to do with whether or not he's going to be able to remain solvent. I just saw in the news this morning, I was just looking in the news this morning, and it said that stock in airlines is about to jump back up because people supposedly are going to they're going to start flying again, and the airlines should at least see some income. So, I don't know that I buy that, but that's what they said. Now let me see something else here. Let's see here. See if there's any numbers out for the day. Where are we at here? No. Okay. So right now, Thailand only has 118 active cases, 61 of which are serious. And, I am going to talk about the fact that they don't test as much as elsewhere, but I think the numbers are important. I don't feel like talking about all those things right now. Southwestern CEO said they plan to offer early retirement and payouts to employees in June. He said he doesn't see industry returning back to normal until 2022 at earliest. I sold my airline stock. Yeah, I mean, you know what's so funny? And again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I did say 2015, May 15th, 2015. No, May 15th. I said was the day that this place was going to start opening up again. Well, it was May 17th where it really took a noticeable jump. And that's just luck. But I've also been saying 2020 is shot. Forget about it. It's done. We're not going to see any normalcy, as in old normalcy, this year. It's not going to happen. Now, next year, things may start to get better, and you'll start to see some changes, and maybe things will be relaxed, and you'll get back to normal. It may take until halfway through 2022 before we come anywhere near approaching what was the old normal. And, I mean, if you think about it, do you really want some person that you don't know standing right next to you and maybe they're coughing on you and you're getting their germs? I mean, I'm not a germaphobe. But think about this. Think about the bars. Yeah, think about the bars. See, Jason J says, I can't imagine people packed into Nana Plaza anymore. Listen, guys will do just about anything for a piece of ass, but how smart is it to go in and you know how things go. You start getting a little drunk. Next thing you know, you're macking with some chick. You're making out with her. You don't know the chick. You just think she's really cute. Oh, she's so sweet. And guess what? She's sexy as hell. I want to take her home. And you're making out with her. Maybe you're doing it through a little plastic, cello wrap or whatever it's called. Somebody sent me a link to the difference between shrink wrap and what was the other one called? I don't even remember what it's called. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. But putting some piece of plastic between you, it's like that's what I'm saying. What are we gonna do now? We're gonna all wear condoms when we walk out every day, and little booties to cover our feet. Just booked a cruise to Europe 2021, hoping for vaccine by then. I don't know if I would count on that, but I can tell you that I know some people that embark on cruises every so often. And I don't think they're going to be going on any cruises, at least this year. And they've had a hell of a time getting some of their money back. So, there's a lot to think about. And this is a trying time. That's one way to put it. And like I said, my mother said something to me a while back. She said, listen, it's not about being negative. It's about how much positivity is there really. I guess if you're alive, then, that's great. Beyond Trinity, I think people's travel expectation will develop as time goes on. Yeah, just like getting back to work. There comes a point where people are going, hey, I got to work. Let me get out there. If there's a CCP virus spike in fall, as some experts think, and no vaccine yet, this will change people's mindset. It's one day at a time. Buy the trip insurance. Yeah, definitely. You're going to need insurance. Now, everything's going to get more expensive. Thank you very much to the CCP. Everything's going to get more expensive. Eventually, airline fares are going to go back up. It's going to be much more expensive. I dare say hotels are going to be more expensive, although I haven't talked to my wife about this. I think a lot of things are going to be more expensive. I'd go anywhere in crowds if I was allowed. I'm not cowering for less than 1%. Exactly. I'm almost at that point now. The only thing is that I feel like I do have some issues that may cause me some problems. So I got to be careful, you know. And I'm a little older than you are, Longhorns. Jason J. Maybe the price of girls will be cheaper. I'm sorry, but I don't think so. And the reason why is because in Thailand, when there are less customers, they raise the prices. That's how it works. If there was ever a stream for some Motorhead tequila, I actually thought about, I was like, what am I going to eat for breakfast? I don't have any cheese. I'm not going to make an omelet. I was like, I don't feel like having oatmeal. I was like, I thought I'll have a beer for breakfast. And then I went, punani. Yee. You're right. Everything is going to be more expensive, so I find it harder to travel. So people will find it harder to travel. Yes. Punani price is always going up. Qantas says non-mandatory advice. Non-mandatory. So wear a mask on flights starting June, plus passengers given wipes to wipe down the table. Well, that's going to go a long way. Like the passengers all want to spend their time wiping down tables. Most people don't give a shit about that. There are people who are like diligent about it. But like, why aren't they doing that? I know that AirAsia has said we're going to spend extra time. It's going to take longer to get the flights ready because we're going to have to sanitize the entire flight. Fundamental supply versus demand. Will bar girls be required to sleep with less men per night due to public health codes? I don't think so. Doesn't work that way. Listen, I got to tell you that I was a little disappointed with the canal boat taxi. And the reason is because they had said they were going to practice social distancing. Now, I personally don't have a problem with social distancing. I want people to be away from me. Get away from me. Leave me alone. Move. I want them to be farther away from me. I don't want somebody where I don't want to have to sit like this and go, I'm next to some old lady, who's breathing garlic or something or I don't know. That's not what I want. I like being, okay, I got some room. Yeah. All right, I can breathe. I'm not scrunched up. And then, as you saw, if you were following the stream, as you should have been the other day, the boat was completely full. People weren't practicing social distancing. I mean, it was ridiculous. It's like they're standing next to each other. Now, they did have masks on. And who knows, if you didn't have your mask on, what people would be saying, or they even let you onto the boat. I don't know. I'm not about to go on there yet. And it's not really because I'm scared to go on there. I just don't feel like being out in the heat. Now, this may be a better week for that. I don't know, but I don't really have anything planned, at least to go out until next week. And then next week, I will go somewhere. I'm not sure where. Depending on, like I said, if people start dropping like flies, then, forget about it. But in the longer term, I agree the prices will rise. In the short term, however, prices may be lower. Yeah, definitely. Because they're clamoring for customers. That mall, Steve Moore, that mall video that you posted was off the hook. Thank you very much. Jason J. Maybe girls will be more willing to go long time due to the risk of COVID-19. I don't know, man. All I know is this. When I first came over here, it wasn't like, hey, buddy, give me your money. I'm going to leave when we're done. It was about spending time with you, hanging out with you, going, showing you the town. You had a little guide. That's why, it was like, listen, you got a guide. You got some chick who's going to keep you warm at night. Not that it was that cold. But she'll keep you warm at night. She'll keep your room clean. She'll show you around town, make sure you don't get ripped off. They were usually pretty trustworthy, at least for the short term. And then for what? Back then, 500 baht. I mean, a long time ago, 500 baht. Give her 500 baht. She's happy. She smiles. She gives you a why. Bye-bye. You going to call me later? Should I come by later? It was kind of, at least you got the girlfriend experience. I don't know if it's going to change now. I don't know. Who knows? And I'm not, for me, I've been out of it so long, I'm a dinosaur when it comes to that stuff. And I'm glad, to be honest, because living life with a family is hard enough without hanging out in the bars and getting shit-faced, and then chasing tail. I don't mind crowds, especially when there's a cute girl next to me. Cheap feel up. Yeah, go to Japan. You'll be very happy there. You might get a little stink finger if you're lucky. I wonder if the tracing apps are here for good. Yeah, I don't particularly. I'm not fond of anything that traces me. Airbnb bookings must be slim to none. Yes. Andy, get a VPN. I have a VPN. Yeah, you know what? VPNs are good sometimes, but sometimes they're not. Um, you know, depends on the company. Depends on if you're paying. If it's a freebie, whatever. Now, as we get towards the end of this stream, I want to go over the numbers in Thailand, which have been quite good. If you watch the video I put out the other day, it was 13 deaths from May 11th to May 7th, I think May 18th. Now it's 16. Yesterday there were 3 deaths. Cases, not deaths. 16 cases. Yesterday, or the day of the video, there were 13 cases. 0 deaths. The last death was May 2019. 3,031 cases here. 56 dead from this virus. So I don't know if they're doing a good job here. They're diligent. It's luck. There is some kind of immunity here going on that we don't know about. But 250 Thai citizens are repatriating. I guess they're coming back today, or they're already back, repatriating from the UK and Ireland. The Royal Thai Embassy in London has confirmed that 250 Thai nationals are to be repatriated from the UK. Yeah, whatever, May 20th, May 2020. Too many of the little bits flying around in my head. Sometimes I get it wrong. The Royal Thai Embassy in London has confirmed that 250 Thai nationals are to be repatriated from the UK and Ireland today. The UK has recorded Europe's highest number of deaths from the COVID-19 virus, currently standing at 34,636. Once the returning citizens arrive in Bangkok, they will be required to enter a 14-day mandatory quarantine period at a government facility. That sucks. The first batch of Thai nationals who wish to return home from the UK and Ireland departed from Heathrow Airport, at 9:25 p.m. local time. That was just yesterday. On Eva Air, and will reach Suvarnabhumi around 3 p.m. Bangkok time. After touching down, all passengers will be transported to the government-operated quarantine facilities and stay there for 14 days to make sure they are free from COVID-19. Extra safety measures were put in place during the check-in and boarding, including health screening of passengers, along with disinfection of their luggage and decontamination of the aircraft before and after the flight. Passengers were also required to wear face masks and maintain strict social distancing. Another flight is taking off on May 30th. Thai nationals who wish to return home are asked to contact the Royal Thai Embassy through their Facebook page. Now, it does not bode very well for foreigners coming back in the country, especially if you've got to be in a government facility for 2 weeks. I mean, do they have to pay for this? I don't know. As far as I know, they don't have to. But that would suck, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with that. I think that they're just going to have to say, listen, we're going to test you when you come in. We're going to test you for your temperature or whatever. Or you're going to have to provide for a test, provide a test result, rather. I don't know. I should say that if you watched what I was saying the other day about the mail, the Thai mail, and how I had to send some things out by mail. I ended up sending something out by regular Thai post, and I also used DHL. But my wife had to ship something out yesterday. She said that EMS to the United States is possible. So the girl that I spoke with the other day at the postal place, that was her first day back to work. She may not have known that it wasn't every country. Some countries, the EMS of Thailand and the Thai Postal Service is not sending mail to some countries. You have to contact them to get a complete list because it's very difficult to find accurate information. But she did say that you can send to the United States and also to Canada. However, she needed to ship something to New Zealand and was unable to do so. They would not ship her package to New Zealand. Okay? So, what do you do when Brignon Trinity asks, what do you do when you get there? Do you hold up for 2 weeks? Do you get out with a mask for 2 weeks? No, you're in a government facility for 2 weeks, apparently, at least the Thais. Right now, foreigners are not coming in. Jason J., why are flights from San Francisco to Bangkok so cheap? Probably because they want people to come in. So, I don't know how they're letting, maybe they're letting Chinese and Koreans, because they're not on the list anymore, they can come into Thailand. Maybe they're allowing them to come back in, but they're not allowing Americans back in. So they probably don't have that many people that want to fly, and so hence they're enticing them with low fares. I'm happy to wear my mask out and about if that's the current expectation. I just want to see my girl again. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. Personally, I think the masks, they suck. I was thinking about wearing my bandana out, like I wore when I was in Hong Kong. But I don't know if it's going to suffice. So, Longhorns, they've always been cheap one way, and from my past looking at it. Oh, was that price one way, that $380? That's not a great price one way. That's okay. If it's round trip, it's $760. That's decent from San Francisco. It's not fantastic. I mean, there have been times you can get a ticket for $550, $600. Steve Moore, government facility equals prison? No, that's not how it is. One thing that people should remember is that, if things are that bad in Thailand, there would be people speaking up. There would be foreigners. There would be Thais. There would be doctors, nurses. There would be a lot of people speaking up. Listen, Thailand is not as restrictive as some people believe, and certainly not as restrictive as, say, China. Now, the Filipinos just got back out into the mall, and apparently they mobbed the mall, and the government is now vowing a crackdown and shutting down the malls again if people don't abide by their guidelines. There is social distancing. Actually, I'm looking at a picture right now. Allow a 3-step gap before stepping on the escalator. So you got to have 3 steps in between you. That's a good thing, I guess. I don't have a problem with that. I don't want anybody close to me. Photos and videos showing shoppers in some malls in the capital, Manila, violating social distancing rules went viral on Saturday, drawing widespread public criticism and alarm, prompting the government to issue new warnings. The government's warned malls would be closing again if they do not strictly implement physical distancing and crowd control measures. The Southeast Asian country has reported 12,513 cases of coronavirus infections and a death toll of 824. That's about 4 times as many cases and 16 times as many dead as Thailand. Fears linger over the possibility of a new wave of coronavirus cases following reports of infection increasing again in Germany, new cases in the city of Wuhan in central China, the origin of the outbreak, and South Korea. The Philippines has joined a growing number of countries gradually reopening economies shut down by restrictions aimed at containing the pandemic, although its biggest cities, Manila and Cebu, remain in lockdown. Steve Moore, in my experience, the people in Thailand are very friendly and nice in general. Yes, that tends to be true. Now, you may get engaged in some business deal or you may deal with people on a regular basis and they can get on your nerves or something like that. But that's how it is anywhere. It's not just about being Thai. There are certain things. I mean, listen. You hear long enough, you're going to have some problems here and there. But overall, they're very nice, very friendly. Philippines has had day passes. Uh-oh. There we go. Well, that was good. Philippines had day passes, one per household, only one name on the pass, and forbade 60-plus people to leave their homes. Yeah, I was reading about that. That's interesting. Very interesting. If everyone I knew, if everyone is wearing a mask indoors, then screw the social distance. Yeah, I don't understand all of it. It doesn't seem like it's too much of an issue. Can't wait until the COVID shit goes away. Who really wants it to remain here? Maybe the CCP. LOL, if you sneeze in public, you're going to be in trouble. Let me tell you something. The other day, when I was in Starbucks, I coughed. And the only reason I coughed is I looked up and I see this Starbucks girl who, I know who she is. I've talked to her several times. She knows me. It's not like I'm somebody who they've never seen before. I looked up and she's sweeping the floor with her shoes off. She's just got these little gray and pink socks on, which I kind of saw, and I was drinking some water and I kind of laughed, and so I coughed. I just like that. And then I heard her say to her coworker, who also knows me for years, oh, Scott has a cough. And so I went over and I said, I don't have a cough. I just laughed. And I was drinking water and I coughed or whatever. I don't have a cough. Come on. Don't get freaked out. He sneezed. Let's beat the hell out of him. That's what was next. USA Today had pictures of Disney World Shanghai, which just opened May 11th. Good. Good for them. But, I don't suggest anybody goes there. Sorry. Was it Mild, Beer, and other person? I forget her name. It was not Mild Beyond Trinity. I don't even remember. I can't even keep up with most of their names. There's Mild, Smile, Preo, Beer, Tien, Ken, and I think that's it. So I guess I do remember some of their names. But Mild and Smile. Those are the favorites of Gennaro. I don't even know if he's still in the stream anymore, listening. But those are the Gennaro favorites, arguably because they tend to be the youngest, and I don't know if they're the prettiest. Yeah, sounds like a complete list. So anyway, the Philippines is a bit crazy too. Everywhere is crazy. This is how it is. This is the new normal. And I got to say, I haven't posted some of the pictures that I have. I'll put some up in the community tab on YouTube. I'll put some up in the Patreon and also in my website. But I've seen these signs everywhere. The new normal. Why are you proud of it being the new normal? I'm not fucking proud. I'm pissed off. This is the thing. Don't act like, it's like gaslighting. Hey, you know what, guys? Come and see our new normal in our shop. We've got it all set up. You're going to be okay. Hey, come on in. No, it's like, listen, when you come in, you dumb shit, if you don't want to get everybody sick, how we look at it is you've got to wear a mask. You might even want to wear a shield. You might even want to wear some blue plastic gloves. But don't come in here infecting us. Don't ruin it for us. Don't ruin it for everybody. Don't come and spread the disease. That's the truth. That's what it's about. It's not, hey, come and experience the new normal. Damn mad American in Bangkok. Thanks, CCP. Well, I'd like to name it the FUCK CCP, or duh, like DACCP. I'd love to name it that. By the way, obviously, I don't think I'll be traveling outside of the country very soon. I'm getting ready to pull out those coupons again and see when do they expire, because if I have it my way and if these hotels are still open, I'm going to visit them. They are in some nice locations. I don't know I'll be able to get there. I'm going to have to figure that all out. I dare say I probably can figure something out. Might cost a little bit more money because, some of the buses are not running. Some of the trains are not running. There's a lot of stuff not running. You can always take a taxi. You want to take a taxi down to, you want to take a Grab down to Pattaya? Well, you can do it. It doesn't cost all that much. So, that's how you might have to get around for at least the next couple of months. But I do have plans to do some things, and I'm hoping that next year I can do some of them. I know I talk about it, and I've talked about it for years, but I do want to go to Africa. And even my mother said, you know what, maybe you should concentrate on Africa more than Asia. Give you something different. You won't be bored. And I'm like, you got a point, So I am thinking about that. I don't know how. I don't know that I'm ready to do that, at least until next year sometime. But I can't. There's plenty of places in Thailand that I can show, that I can go, that not many people really know about. All right? I have to say this, but no, my mother doesn't talk like that. I have to say this, though. I've been here for, 25 years. About 25 years. And I know a thing or two, I know a few things. So I dare say I can probably come up with some places to go. Although, I was thinking about going to Khao Sok again, getting away from it all. But guess what? The national parks are still closed. What about, let's see, Steve Moore, are the schools opening up in Thailand? No, they're not. In fact, Nicholas starts school July 1st. This whole semester, this whole term is done at home. Alex just had his final exam in school. He's done now. Was this his first? No, yeah. He's done with his first year of college. So next year he will be a sophomore. Which is good. He's done very well. I'm very proud of him. But he, as far as I know, it's still up in the air for his next term. I won't be surprised if at least some of the term is done at home. What about your roughing it? Bicycle to your destination, live in tent, poop in the wilderness. I'm more than willing to do that. I'm more than willing to do a walk to like Pattaya. Not in this heat, though. I'm more than willing to do something. I don't want to bicycle. I don't like bicycling. You know the reason why? Because I don't like my balls being crushed. And that's what happens. I don't like that feeling of of your taint being all scrunched up, and I just don't like it. I never have. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to ride my bike so much, and I used to be going, man, the Schwebby's a little raw. That's not a good feeling for a man. I may do some kind of a train trip, overland trip, train, taxi, bus, tuk-tuk, whatever kind of trip. Might you return to the U.S. for an extended period of time? Highly doubtful. What is he going to study? Well, he's studying business management and tourism, of all things. So at least he's got the business management. Hotel and business. What is it? Hotel, tourism, and business management, something like that. My brother, a teacher in Bangkok, is going to school most days to transmit e-learning classes. Yes. I wonder if the teaching is better at home or the school. We will find out. What about rent a Harley? I'm not too keen on motorcycles, really. Although locally, maybe, but like on a long-distance trip, if I'm going to get something, I don't want to rent it. I'd rather buy it. I talked about it before. It's all about the money. When I make $2 a stream, when I make $2 off of a video, when I make 75 bucks off of YouTube, hard to justify it unless it's a place I really want to go. And I've went to a lot of the places that I really wanted to go to. So, when there's fundage, when I have the funds to go to some of these places, I will. And, it would be nice to get something like a little Royal Enfield or something like that, and to slap on a little GoPro. Actually, I'm dirty on GoPro right now. I don't like the fact that something happened to the motherboard on my GoPro, and that GoPro is now kaput. I've been thinking about the Sony Action Cam, but I'm not even sure about that. But it would be nice to take a little, trip on a Royal Enfield around the country or whatever. I think that would be pretty cool. But I don't want to rent anything. I don't want to be responsible for it. Rather be responsible to myself, Better at school with other humans. I dare say that I think it is good to have some social interactions. With not only for studying and education and these kind of things, and to have a group of your peers around you, but also, for women. Nicholas will be in college next year. So, they're both in the mode now where, women are becoming much more appealing and, they don't care that much about them, which is a good thing for now. But, they need that social interaction. Lots of vloggers hate the GoPro. I understand there are some good things about it, but I think it's never fulfilled. It's never met my expectations, and I didn't think my expectations were all that high. It's very difficult to justify using the GoPro when the thing doesn't do some of the things that you want to do. It's the in camera what the hell is it called? This stabilization is not fantastic, and it's better now on the 7 and 8, but I just don't know if I can justify getting one of them. Have you read The Fun They Had by Isaac Asimov? Prophetic Given Circumstances. I used to read him, but I don't remember what I read. I was a kid. They care more than they let on. Yes, they do. Poor customer service and can't easily repair. I did go to the GoPro a couple of months ago. And when I went in, they go, "Oh, sorry, there's nothing you can do. If you really want to do something, you're going to have to fix the motherboard." I go, "Okay, well, how much is it going to cost?" 5,000 baht. I'm like, what? It's almost the price of what you can get some of the... listen, 5,000 baht, it's like, all right, yeah, I could fix it, but then what? It's not even really what I want. So why not spend an extra 5 or 10 and get what you want? That's what I prefer. But even that, listen, my phone has done very well for a long time. And so I'm not complaining about, the video quality. In all honesty, for YouTube, it's fine. If I start selling my video content, that's a different story. But I have my Fuji X-T3. That does a good job. Does fantastic video. But it's not as portable as, say, a phone. So there's trade-offs with everything. They make it to where you're going to have to get the upgrade. And, then it's like no matter what, you're always going to have to get the upgrade of a newer model because then it'll have what you want on it. Unfortunately, they're taking something off that you really liked on the last version. It's the whole, buy the next iPhone, buy this, buy that. And most of the time, you really don't need it. And I'm starting to think a lot more now, what do I need? Well, what I got to make sure is that we have food and that our rent's paid. That's pretty easy. Those are the two things. Everything else is basically a want. Do I want to travel? Yeah, well, it's good to travel because then people look at the channel and they see, hey, he's going here, he's going there, he's doing this, he's doing that. But that's not always possible. So, you can only do what you can do. That's how it works out. Yes, I did see the fight. I don't think Overeem is ever going to win the UFC title. Unless he gets lucky. I certainly don't think at this age and this time in his career he's going to hold on to it very long if he does get lucky and win it. And I don't know how he is, set if he's set financially or whatever else he's got going on in his life. He seems to be fairly well grounded. He's got a family and everything. I don't really want to see him continue to fight. He's had some fantastic fights. He's had some brutal fights. He's been knocked out. And, but the thing is if you're a fighter, that's what else do you know how to do? You know how to fight. And when you get done, usually they own a gym. They train guys or whatever. They have somebody training people. They work with them or whatever. They finance some stuff. They promote. So that's, I don't know what else to say, but I do like him, and I like to watch him fight. Well, yeah, Harris is so big that, listen, if you're a big dude, a truly big dude, and you don't know how to pace yourself, George Foreman, knew how to pace himself in boxing, and he learned that from Archie Moore. He learned how to pace himself and pick his shots. And Harris is not in the same league, obviously, as George Foreman was. Close, but no cigar. Big dude, though. And he didn't hold back, Getting tear gassed here, getting beat up there, can't wait for your new travels. Well, neither can I. It may just be something as simple as I'm going to an island to chill out on a beach, like Kokut when I went there. But that was pretty damn nice. Overeem and Big Ben are gatekeepers now. Yeah, I hate that whole gatekeepers thing. What do you think of Ryan Garcia? Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. I don't know yet. Here in the Philippines, the malls don't have sign-in or phone numbers here so far, but it's early. Yeah, well, just give them a little bit of time. Yeah, come to Hawaii, and then I can't get back into Thailand. So that's the issue. If I leave the country, I got to make sure that I can get back into the country. And I'm not going with some company that's yet to be proven, like Insta360. I'm not so keen on the whole 360. Listen, I'm a simple guy. I want simple stuff. If I want anything more, I was thinking about something. Well, Alex, he can help me with editing and stuff, and he's pretty good, all things considered. I do have a couple of people that I forgot about that I can use. It'll cost me money, but if I put together some really good footage, maybe they can do something to where they edit the stuff for me, and I can put something together. That could happen, and I may talk to them in the next week or so. I don't know. That would be really good because then I don't have to focus on, I got to shoot this, I got to shoot that, and shit, now I got to edit. I'm tired, and this stuff, I don't like this. I don't like the way it looks. I just go, listen, I'll talk to the screen. We come up with some ideas. I talk to the screen. They take care of everything, and I don't have to worry about it. That's kind of like what I'd like to do. And, get a little input from Alex and Nicholas, because they have some good ideas, and they know YouTube far better than I do. Let me see something real quick here. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Insta360 1R. I was looking at some stuff the other day, and I didn't, I was just like, I don't know about Sony, and then I was hearing, the lens kind of gets loose sometimes, and that's not a good thing, obviously, so I don't know. I don't know. Listen, I talked a long time ago about going down the Mekong. I'd love to do that, but I still think I could do it. Anything where I'm stationary is going to be better than me walking for, days on end or trying to do something like that. What the hell was it called? I forget. The place in Myanmar, I can't, Kakabaratsi. My mind says, I want to do that. my body would probably break down and I wouldn't be able to do it at this point. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe I could have. But after the surgery and everything, and you know, I don't think I could do it. So we'll see. It's exciting for me. Yeah, exactly. Not again. And even Longhorns remembers just how humid Myanmar was and how miserable it was. Man, it's so hot there. And you think Thailand's hot. Thailand is hot. Myanmar is hot, but Myanmar is even more humid. It's like you walk outside and all of a sudden you start dripping sweat. Not enough water left in the Mekong for a cruise, thanks to China. Yeah, thank you, China. I thought about doing the whole trip. You know, I mean, I think about this. The cost is a big factor, but also a lot of these other factors have to do with China. One of the big thing was the cost of going. If I wanted to go down the Mekong, like take the whole Mekong, well, first of all, you can't do it because China's got a lot of things dammed up now. Yeah, okay, go up the Mekong. That'll work. Second of all, they make it very difficult for you to do so. Third of all, I probably would end up dying. And, you know, the way you need to do it is and I learned this from that walk that I took from Chiang Rai to Chiang Mai. You go first in a vehicle where you're not struggling, like a car, like a boat, and you scout everything out. And then you figure it all out and you go. That's what you do. Okay? So, you know. But there are things I am starting, you know, especially being cooped up most of the time. And I don't have to be that cooped up, really. But, you know, I get sick of just, where are you going to go? Oh, I'm going to go hang out in Bangkok. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go to the mall. It's so exciting. I'm going to go to Happy Land. You know, I mean, this is the hood. It's like, yeah, you know. Big deal. Yeah. So I got to find some exciting stuff to do. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. Now it's starting to get into my head, you know, hey, where can I go? What can I do? And in Thailand, yeah, there's some places to go. But if I was to go outside of Thailand, I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to have to wait until, you know, the dust settles. So anyway, I think we've reached the end. I don't really have anything else to talk about unless anybody else does. I'm not going to blow up any dams. The Prava here, yeah, that was nice. That was nice. I don't know if I could get up those stairs anymore, though. I could, but that was fun. Anyway, I think it's time to say goodbye. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. Oh, guys swam the Amazon. You could do the Mekong, and I think I'll end up in Florida. I think I'll end up at the bottom of the Mekong is where I'll end up. That's where I think I'd end up. I think I'd drown. You know, there is a video of a guy doing a trip down the Mekong in his canal. In his canoe, rather. In his canal. In his canoe. His canal or his canoe? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. He did it in his canoe, and it was, you know, it's a lot of work, man. And, you know, for me to do it on my own, very difficult, man. You know? I mean, I pulled off a few things in my life, but it always helps to have one or two guys that, you know, join the team, that help out, that they have certain experiences, you know, like Longhorns or whoever else. It does help, you know. So I really have to think about these things. But, you know, it all comes down to planning, timing. Right now it depends on, you know, where can I go, where can't I go, how easy it is to get there. And, of course, it's always, you know, always has to do with finances and, you know, what's important. I got one thing to say, save every penny, because anything can and will be coming around the corner, and you're going to need every penny. It might just get that bad. I believe you, Fidelity, and I have been doing that. You know, we stashed a ton of food. And now we have not been buying nearly as much food because we just have too much. We have a lot of food stashed for the long term. And not all that much for the short term. And so every once in a while we go back and pick up some meat, some bread, some eggs, stuff like that. But we got enough food and water for a while. So we don't really, now we're not spending money on much. I mean, I'm not, you don't see me running around. It's not like before where I was paying 1,000 baht for a canal boat or something like that. I'm not doing these things. I'm not going on these trips. And that's been beneficial. It's been beneficial. Beyond Trinity, take Jono with you. What could go wrong? I'd go with Jono. I'd go with Longhorns. That we all know each other. I say we could probably all do it, but of course, it's about, do they want to go as well? It's about the money. It's about the timing, and there's a lot of things to think about. How about hitting the hotels up for sponsorship? Well, that is possible. I have some places that I can go now, some hotels that I can go to. I think I can go to at least 2 out of the 3 places still, maybe all 3. And I get a couple of days there for free. But that's the kind of thing really that the hotel sponsorship, if they want to give the sponsorship, then the one thing about sponsorship is I'm not into hey, I'm going to speak so great about your place, and yet it's a shithole. I don't want to do that. I want to kind of keep it real, and that's about independence, which makes it more difficult. But, whatever. I've been doing this for a while now. I'm fine. Give them a plug on the videos. Yeah, that's what you usually do. Starbucks, forget about it. Starbucks ain't going to sponsor anybody. Starbucks should have sponsored me long ago. I mean, Manscaped, okay, go to manscaped.com. Use the code Malin20 if you want to buy some Manscaped products. They do have some good stuff. If I can keep my kids from losing my Manscaped shorts every time they get washed, I have to yell at them to search through the laundry to make sure they find it because I don't want to lose the stuff. I like those, those briefs, those undies. So, I could have a beer right now, eh? It's 10:20. It's beer 30. No, I never checked, and I should. That's another. See, there's another thought. Why am I pushing Manscaped products if they're made in China? Built in China. Wouldn't surprise me. Let me see. I could probably take a quick look and find right out. Let's see. Manscaped is made in. I bought one through your link, thank you. But since I am not going to pat you anytime soon, the Manscaper razor is still in the box. He said all the company's wet products like soaps and shampoos are made in the United States, built by the team in San Diego and compounded in Los Angeles, while the other items are manufactured in China by a partner factory. Get your stuff out of China, Manscaped. Yeah, a little disappointed. But, that that's... But hopefully they're going to make a move and get out of there. We'll see. They're now up to the Lawnmower 3.0. I got the Lawnmower 2.0. And I will say that the Nick Your Sack money-back guarantee is a good thing. But I've never trimmed my sack, but I have trimmed my head, and I've never cut my head. So that's a good thing. I trust it more trimming my hair than I do down below because I don't want to have a nick whether you get your money back or not. How about interviewing all the people to build up viewership? Well, yeah. I mean, it's not that there's not things to do, Steve. I don't know where the raw ingredients for the shampoos and lotions come, but I did just read that it is made. All the company's wet products, like soaps and shampoos, are made in the U.S., built by the team in San Diego and compounded in Los Angeles. So to me, that sounds like they come from the United States. As far as interviewing people, yeah, I mean, I could do that. There's so many things that you can do, You were at your best when you were doing the Hong Kong gig. Great. Yeah. And like I said the other day, there is part of me that would like to go back to Hong Kong, and there's part of me that just says, I'm too old for this shit. Because you know what? I saw the other day where the police pepper sprayed a bunch of journalists. They weren't doing anything. They were standing there and waiting, and the police had been standing away from them, and all of a sudden one of the police just turned and started pepper spraying them. And of course they were pissed. They're not supposed to do that. And they scream and yell, get out of here, you can't film, you can't take our photographs. And, like when they pepper sprayed me, and I got pepper sprayed a few times, but the one time where I got it really bad, and I think I streamed about an hour after I had been sprayed, my face was all red and stuff from it. This is at the place where the guy got his ear bit off, and the guy who bit his ear off stabbed a bunch of people. This was at a shopping center, and they sprayed me, point blank for it. It felt like forever, but I know it probably wasn't more than 10 or 15 seconds, probably even less than that. But all I remember is calling the guy every name in the book. I called him an asshole. I called him, I called him everything. Now, he could have very easily just, beat me with his baton, and that could happen. And I'm at the age where if I get beaten with a baton, recovering is going to be a bitch. Thank you, Beyond Trinity. I think you need to be exposed to danger, violence, and risk your life. The greater, the better. You would get a lot of views. I would give you a thumbs up. Well, thank you very much. Here's the thing. In order for me to do that, it needs to be financially, it needs to be made financially possible. It's as simple as that. I'm not gonna be exposed to anything as dangerous as getting shot by some Hong Kong police or beaten up by some pretty big Chinese police. I'm not going to expose myself to that unless I'm getting paid. It's serious. And I made some money. I got to travel over there several times. But as far as, did I turn a big profit? No, I didn't. So it's kind of like, I didn't go there for the money necessarily. I didn't go there for that. I went there because I thought it was very important. I think it's still very important. But at this time, I think to myself, going back there is going to do what? So that's why there are other places that I would like to go to that may be dangerous or they may not be. I don't care about the danger it's all relative. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to go in the middle of a war zone and just walk out on the battlefield and get shot and blown up. That's just stupid. You got to be smart about it. But it's about risk and reward. I don't know how many times I've said that. It's risk, reward. And it's calculating the risk and seeing, is it really going to be worth it? And to be honest, going to Hong Kong, there is part of me, I do want to go back to Hong Kong. I did. For sure want to go back. But now, the way things are and the way that the CCP has increased their pressure on the Hong Kong government, I don't know that it's the smartest move for me to go back. Plus all the things that I've said in the last couple of months. Fuck the CCP. All it takes is the wrong Chinese guy to get a hold of that, to show it to somebody in the CCP. They put me on some list, and I'll never get into Hong Kong again. I kind of wonder that myself. I know that Michael Yon, who was covering it in far greater depth than I did, was eventually, he wasn't deported, but he was restricted from coming into the country. he wasn't allowed into the country. You had to go back. So, yeah, I mean, relaxing is nice, but it is a little bit boring sometimes. It's like, listen, have you ever said, I want to go to this beautiful beach, and I'm just going to lay on the beach with a Mai Tai in my hand or a pina colada or whatever with my chick next to me. And then you go there, and after, you're like laying there, and after like 2 hours in the sun, you're like, I think I'm going to go back in my room. I'm going to go jump in the swimming pool. You know, and then you're there for 2-3 days, and you're like, all right, you know, I got to find some other things to do. I'm going to go to this little waterfall. I'm going to go here. All right, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that there was the place, it was called, what was the hell was the name of that place? Koh Chang. Koh Chang in the south, not in the east. That island I went to. I stayed at this little bungalow on the beach. Fantastic. Loved it. But it gets a little boring at times. You know, I mean, you're there for 5-6 days, and you're like, all right, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to chill. But unless you get in the mode that you're in lockdown mode, you got to get in the frame of mind you're in lockdown mode. You know, what are you going to do? That's why Hong Kong was so good, because for me, that was always been what it's like. Hey, go to a fight. You never know what's going to happen with the fight, but you know you got the camera there. You're going to capture it. You go to Hong Kong. You never know what's going to happen there. You go to the Congo. You never know what's going to happen. You go to Myanmar. You go out to some place. Nobody knows who you are. They don't care who you are. You're just some dude. And you got white skin, and everybody else is different than you. Now, in Myanmar, that didn't really mean much of anything. The people were very, very accommodating and very, very nice. Always very good to me. Only once when I was there did they get a little shitty with me, because I was looking for somebody, and they didn't really, for whatever reason back then, they were shut down, and they didn't really want me to find this person. But CCP might grab you, then you rat us all out. I don't know what kind of information I have that would be so detrimental to the average person, but not much. So, out of the blue question, whatever became of the guy and woman accused of setting off the bomb a few years back, trial, jail time, death penalty? I don't know what you're talking about. Setting off what bomb? The bomb in Bangkok. I thought that I'm trying to think of which ones you're talking about. There's been several bombs. There's been Muslims in the south that have set off bombs. There were the Uyghurs, supposedly the Uyghurs, that set off bombs. There's all kinds of bombings that go off here, or that have gone off here. Oh shit! Why did I do that? Anyway, the stream is gone for quite a long time. You know, I'd like to say, I promise you I'm going to continue traveling all over the world, and I'm going to go to some fantastic places. Yeah, that was the Chinese. As far as I know, that was supposedly the Uyghurs. That's the Thai story. It was the Uyghurs, and they got sent back to China. I'm a fan. Wouldn't know about Asia if I didn't watch you. Want to keep watching you from what you said about CCP. Well, thanks, Carl. I remember your Koh Chang, you were hanging out with the German guy. Yeah, that guy was cool. What was his name? Hans? Was it Hans or Franz? Hans and Franz. I don't think there's any jail time. I think they deported him. You were hanging with a German guy, visited their 2006 relaxing place, but nothing to do but eat, swim, drink, and walk. Exactly. I mean, you know, I went to the what do you call it? I forget the name of the place. You know, the Sea Gypsy. They have a little town. I went to that little town. They just have a little village. Really rough kind of place. Rough to live, I mean. And that was the highlight. Just walking around was the highlight, you know. I don't know. You know, the thing is about walking for me is once I get in the habit of it, which I've been walking lately, not just streaming and walking or anything like that, but I've been walking. Once I get into the habit of it, and then I start getting out, I start feeling like okay, I'm going to do this, and if I got to walk all day to go do something, whether it's taking photos or whatever, I'll do it. But I've noticed that in the last year or so, ever since the surgery, that when I go out and I go on long walks, it takes a lot more out of me than it did before the surgery. And I don't know if that's age or what it was. But yeah, I'm not in the same condition, so I got to be careful about, like the whole cockabarachi thing. In my mind, I can do it. Looking at it realistically, it would probably kill me to do that. Now, maybe somebody like Beyond Trinity would like to see that. But, if I'm going to die, I got to get paid, This is what is it? It's TMT, baby. The Malin team, like the Mayweather team. It's the Malin team. It's the same thing. So, but lots of places in Thailand to go to. The main thing is the national parks. If they start opening up those places, then I'm sure I can go to one or two of them pretty easily. There's a couple places I'd like to go here that are they're cool places, man. But I like going places where I don't want to go where there's a bunch of tourists. I do that with my family once in a while, and I've done it before many years ago. It's like that. It's like me going to the Grand Palace or something. How many times am I going to go? That's what I mean is that when I say, you come here, you see a bunch of places, you have a great time. Think about something. The first time you come to Thailand, it's like popping your cherry. You come and you just go, wow, what a fantastic place. I want to come back. And then you come back. It's still a great place, right? You're like, wow, I didn't know that about this. Then you come a few times and you're like, yeah, I'm starting to get the hang of this place. After a while, it's no big deal. And like for me, it's no big deal anymore. And I hate to say that, and I have to remember that for a lot of people, it's very new and very exciting. Like Carl, hey, I never rode on the back of a motorcycle before, especially in Bangkok. Okay, that's a cool thing to do. I have to remember that sometimes. So, there are some things that I want to do for the first time here in Thailand. And hopefully, I'm not going to promise it's going to happen in the next month because I don't know what's going to go on here. Your cherry was 11 years ago. But, it'll all happen. Something will happen. And the reason something will happen is because I'll go stir crazy if I just stick around Bangkok for the next year. It doesn't have to cost a lot. It doesn't have to be an expensive trip or anything like that. It just has to be interesting and useful and something worthwhile for YouTube. That's the other thing. Because, if I'm not going to do anything for YouTube, whether it's streaming or videos, then what's the point of going at this point? Because I don't need to go. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't care. For me, it doesn't really matter. I mean, sometimes I get that feeling like, man, I got to get out there and I got to go. But when I think about it logically, like Fidelity said, I don't have a problem staying at home and just, socking away every cent, every little cent that we can. Both my wife and I are doing that. And just chilling at home with the kids and trying to enjoy spending time with each other. Most of the time we do. It's funny you bring up the banjo Beyond Trinity. Learn how to play the banjo, then sit outside and play dueling banjos as people walk by. I would love to learn to play the guitar, but my hand, this hand in particular, let me see, I can't see what I'm showing here. This hand has been broken 5 times, and I can't, my hand is not good compared, like this one is better. This one's like a block. This one's, it's like a wave. I've been to Pai. That it's a little bit touristy there now, but it is a nice place. But I don't know. I got to think about it, you know. Tai Chi in the park, you know. Yeah, that's good, but I don't know that I want anybody watching me on a stream doing Tai Chi. Woo. You know, all these things. But yeah, I'd love to play guitar. I really would, but my hands can't handle it. I tried, and I tried the other day with Alex. Alex was showing me, and Nicholas is playing guitar, and Alex is trying to play piano now. So they're all trying to get into it. And the only thing that maybe I can do is harmonica, and I was never great at harmonica. I mean, I played piano a long time ago. Forget about it. Harmonica, could play some really easy, basic tunes. Other than that, it ain't gonna happen. So, anyway, this has been a long stream because you know what? I don't really have all that much to do today. If one of my kids is open, I can go, hey, give me bring me up a beer. I got a beer. My wife, she doesn't have any musical abilities. None. I'm saving so much money now. Next trip is going to be big. Andy Stubbs. Ah, well, good. Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, I'm all for having a great trip. I'm all for the Congo, but, you know, I got my kids' education to think about. I got my old age to think about and getting some better insurance, which is not a problem now, really. I could do it, but, you know. Word on the Bangkok streets is your kids are musical, but you're the singer. Yeah, actually, that's the thing. Depending on the songs, I'm not a bad singer. I'm not going to say I'm great, but they're like, we don't want to sing. You can sing because you're a lot better than us. And I'm like, well, maybe you need to learn to sing. But you know, we can't go to the studio even now. So it's you know, and maybe that'll happen in the next month or so. I'd say month or two. Alex should be back in the studio. I don't know, you know. I'll sing a song with him. I don't care. I'm not, you know, listen, doesn't matter. Good or bad. Wow, I've downed a whole bottle of this water. Crazy. Anyway, hopefully I could do some streams or, you know, and the thing is I don't want to let it out where I'm going to go. I don't want to say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I've done that in the past, and then I didn't end up doing it. So, and you know, what I used to say was, if there's 10 things that I want to do and I do one or two of them, that's fine. Because at least I'm trying. But now I'm thinking, all right, listen, I don't need to tell everybody where I'm going to go. I know myself, and I know why we'll eventually go somewhere with or without pressure to perform or to take part in some kind of a trip. I know I'll do it. So, you know, I'm not going to talk about it until it's confirmed and I got like an airline ticket or a train ticket, something like that. Carl, your train trip to Bali from Bangkok is probably going to have to wait for a while. Yeah, I don't care about the Bangkok Hilton. If you want to do anything, you go to the Oriental or the Peninsula. You know, I don't know. You know, it's like there's so much. The world is a big place, Mr. Beyond Trinity. There's a lot of things to do. Anyway, the stream has run its course. It's time to say goodbye. If you have yet to subscribe, please remember to do so. Subscribe, please. And when you do so, make sure to click on that bell to make sure you get notified of when I'll be streaming or when a video will go up. Please click like. That's important. It's always nice to be liked. Share the stream if you so choose. And leave a comment if you find anything I say to be enlightening or irritating or whatever. If you like what I'm doing and support this channel, take a look at the description. Head over to anamericaninbangkok.com/Scott. I got to say that again because, again, you guys are the ones who make this possible. It ain't YouTube for sure. I can tell you that right now, YouTube. You are not the ones who are making my journey possible because, to tell you the truth, if I was making, you know, a little bit of extra money from Vimeo, Vimeo was paying me half of what I was getting on YouTube. and I got the same money I was getting from people and patrons and shirts and all this other kind of stuff, I wouldn't be on YouTube. I'd be on Vimeo. It's not that big of a deal to me where I am, as long as there's eyes on the stuff, you know? Doesn't really matter. So, yeah, take a look in the description. Head over to AmericanInBangkok.com/Scott. There is some new stuff coming out. I don't know when it's going to be done, but, you know, I've been saying it for a while, and now I'm ready to pull the trigger. So, yeah, there is some new merch coming out shortly. So let's see here if I can do this. All right. A little exit music would be nice. See you, Richard. Oh, I heard China is paying the 50 centers more now. What are they paying them? 51 cents? Thank you very much. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping me busy. I appreciate that. And I'll see you guys the next go round, which, I don't know, Thursday, Sunday. Usually it's Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, but I may take Thursday off. I don't know. I've been meaning to, but every time I get ready to, I go, nah. Why should I? So I'll talk to you guys later.